Hey, welcome to Ladies Who Question. We're going to talk native plants today. And wait, what is this called? Witness Tree Quest? I am in the dark about this, but I skimmed the information that was sent, and oh boy, is it cool. And every single person in Lake Bluff should be doing this. Our guests are Sue Raymour, Mickey Collins. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Good afternoon.
So formal. I've known both. Well, I guess I've certainly known Sue. Holly just met both of these ladies just now, and I've known Sue since I moved here in 1989. And Mickey, I just found out I know her in a way from Harvey the Wonder Dog eating her tomatoes. Long story, we're not going to go into that right now, but oh God, it was one of those mom moments that you have where you go, my child did what? So anyway, welcome and thank you. And Witness Tree Quest, we're going to get to that, but let's lay the groundwork here. Here's all that I know. Sue started growing native habitat Lake Bluff. How long ago?
About 6.5, almost 7 years ago.
It seems like, yeah. And what is that about? Because this lays the groundwork for this.
It started with someone giving me a book called Nature's Best Hope by Doug Tallamy. And I read the book and it just spoke to me and I had to do something. So I put out a Facebook post about doing a book discussion and got 35 people interested. And from there, it's just taken off, all about what we can do in our homes and our yards to help nature and save nature. So from that, we have grown over the years. From 35 people, I now have about 250 people on my email list.
Okay, see, Holly, that's already more than I knew about it. I know because I read the newsletters, but I am a naughty person and I don't really physically participate. However, the knowledge that I glean from your newsletters and your information that you're dispensing is invaluable, and it's impacted me. I mean, I was already into the whole native plant and being good to the environment. I mean, I'm kind of a freak about that. So Holly will attest.
Oh, yeah.
And she's interested too. So anyway, that's kind of where it started.
And that's the whole point, to get people just a little bit interested, find out where they are, and just see if we can't get them a little bit more interested in saving nature.
Just in case we move off of growing native habitat Lake Bluff. Neonics. This came up. Remember, Holly, this came up on a podcast we did recently. I was talking about plants and I said, oh, but you got to make sure that you don't want it. And I couldn't remember exactly, you want to avoid them or you want them or they're treated with them, or tell me about that.
So neonicotinoids
That's it. Neonicotinoids.
They're a class of insecticides. They've been around for a while, but they have started ramping up in the use of them. And why they are different, they're derived from nicotine, related to nicotine. So the neurologic is where they act in the nervous system. And
of the plant.
Of the plant, of the animals that eat it, of anything. The bees can even they're now finding cases of cancer and problems in humans. But these neonicotinoids get into every cell in the plant and it changes the DNA so that it's there for the life of the plant. And if the plant generates seeds, as most plants do, it will be in the seeds. So it'll last. Doug Tallamy, who wrote the book Nature's Best Hope, he's kind of our mentor, expert, who's an entomologist. That's his specialty, is insects. He feels it lasts 2 to 3, or he says science shows that it lasts 2 to 3 generations for the plant. So once you plant a plant with neonicotinoids, it is out there killing any insect that eats the leaves, all your caterpillars, any of the bees that get the pollen, or any of your animals that get the nectar.
How do you avoid that? Are plants that you would buy in a nursery, would you know if they have that on them, or?
That's the $1 million question there.
No, you don't. In fact, Ann Verdevec and I have been working on legislation trying to get labeling so that if plants do have neonicotinoids, they're labeled. Hard to do in an agriculture state, but we're working on it.
Mickey, now did you start this with Sue, or how? Are you a founder as well, or?
Not exactly, but Sue and I have known each other for years because our daughters were good friends when they were in grade school.
Oh, Sarah? Yeah.
Sarah. And then we kind of fell out of touch because, once your kids get out of school, you lose contact. And I was growing native plants all by myself for quite a few years. I got into them because of a friend who is the president of Nachusa Grasslands. And we had gone there a couple times, and I had seen he told us about how all these endangered birds are coming and showing up there. And it was a light bulb moment for me. I mean, that's Doug Tallamy's message too, that native plants are what all of our birds need, to support the insects that they eat, etc. So that was why I got inspired, and I'm growing native plants, and then Sue and I reconnect somehow. I don't even remember what happened, but then, I've been just as supportive of Sue as I can be and involved in all the things that growing native does. And I'm also a bit of a tree lady all by myself, too. I am an architect by profession, and I sort of got into looking at our street trees here in Lake Bluff from that viewpoint, like what's been happening to our streets. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we just have tree removal going on very slowly and steadily without much replanting. I mean,
I thought they were replanting.
Not enough to replace the trees that we keep losing. And emerald ash borer, we never had a program to replace all the ash trees that were cut down.
That was horrible.
Yeah, so we've lost a lot of trees here, and I've just been advocating to get more trees planted. A few years ago, some of us from Growing Native went out and we looked for very vigorous native trees, primarily oaks, and we gathered up acorns when we saw a tree that looked old and really healthy. And then we took the acorns to Majestic Oaks in McHenry County.
I remember. Yeah. It was on the newsletter. Go on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was so cool. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So that's just a wonderful, beautiful nursery, but they're wholesale. So we had to figure that out. And they grew acorns into little oak trees for us. And we 2 years ago, we sold the 2-year-old trees. Last year, we sold the 3-year-old trees. They're all gone. I'm still getting requests. Do you still have any more oaks? And unfortunately, I don't. But we might do it again sometime. But this year, we have this different effort called our Witness Tree Quest.
Yeah, that just the name alone. When I put this out there, Holly's like, "Well, what's that about?" I said, "I'm going to, forward you because I said, I don't know, but it's a cool name."
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, we've been losing a lot of our oldest trees. They get cut down. Like oaks get hollow as they get older, and people around here think that means that they're rotten inside, and they're not. But lots of our older trees get cut down. So we've talked about how we want people to appreciate our oldest trees. And a very unique thing about Lake Bluff is that much of the North Shore was logged back in the 19th century, and it stopped before it got to Lake Bluff.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I read that on the website. Yeah. It sort of stopped at Lake Forest, and all of a sudden we were spared.
Wow.
Somehow we were, and so we do have some really old trees around. And there were other members of Growing Native that kind of inspired this too. They wanted to have, there's something called a champion tree it's an actual international thing, because at least Canada and I think Mexico are part of it. They look for large trees. And you can, they try to find the largest tree in every state of each species. That's very specific because they can be exact, and they have I forget how many pages.
86.
86 pages in their guide on how to measure the size of a tree. It can get complicated. We're trying to look for older trees, which is close, but not quite the same thing. And it's a less precise process.
So champion trees just because they're larger, but we're looking for older.
We're looking for older, hopefully. And it's going to have a big trunk. That's going to be a sign of an old tree. But the only way to get a precise measurement of the age is, you have to count the rings somehow, which means either cut it or you do a core, which is expensive and could hurt the tree. So we're just using age factors that were developed by Morton Arboretum that you can just multiply the diameter of the tree trunk by, and then you get an estimate. I mean, if a tree was shaded a lot when it was young, maybe it didn't, it's older, but it didn't grow quite as big. Or if it was out in abundant sunshine, it might have grown a little faster. So that's why it's not super precise, but it's pretty good.
Okay, so you said you're looking for older trees. Why?
Well, you just want people to appreciate them, number one, but number two, we're tying it into the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, right? So the idea, the reason witness trees is the name that we picked. I guess Morton Arboretum has used it. It's we didn't really invent it, but the idea is our old trees have witnessed a lot of history.
Oh, that.
Okay.
Oh,
witnessed. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is
now.
there?
Yeah.
And you're looking for them in the community, right?
Yes, anywhere in our school district.
And then, is there any way that you would put like some kind of notary? I mean, I no, not notary.
Yeah,
like you would tag them and
Yeah.
say this tree's like however old.
We think we'll do when we get all the entries in. We're going to be looking until the end of September,
Okay.
and then once we have our data collected, we're hoping to do a map, and then we might do something like that,
A
like
walk, maybe take people
Yes.
on a
We've talked about that, and we've talked about maybe some communities do plaques on older trees, and that can
okay.
get a little expensive. We don't really. This is unfunded.
And
So-
also, that may impair the integrity of the tree. I'd hate to think that putting a screw in a tree, that it opens it up for disease.
No, I think they put them next to the tree.
Oh, next to.
I've heard.
Oh,
yeah.
a plaque
yeah,
on
like
the
a little
ground.
stand.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay, good.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because
Like we have some, I think, in Sunrise Park, don't we have little plaques? Somebody donated a tree. It would be that kind of thing.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and there are some other things we might, have awards. We might honor the oldest of a lot of different species because we're giving factors for 15 different tree species. They're all native, of course, because they have to be native to be really old. Yeah, we're going to figure out. We want to see what comes in first, and then figure out how we're going to celebrate these trees.
Started
Yeah.
May 1st. And maybe, just maybe, somebody will think twice about having a tree cut down. Because a lot of the times they don't need to be cut down. And as Mickey says, the red oaks are meant to be hollow. That's what happens to them.
I didn't know that.
And they're still stable.
Yes.
That is just what I always think. Oh, they're just going to crash over in the next storm. That information alone is, wow. I always thought once it's hollow, it's dead.
Think about a paper towel roll and how, try to push on it. Think how strong it is. It's hollow inside,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, right.
that's
Hey,
true.
that's a
So
good
that's
analogy.
something that's a structural engineering concept. But
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense.
And if you took that same amount of paper and made it, a little tight, like a little straw or something, it wouldn't be strong. So the
Right.
tree knows how to be strong, right? And it
Yes.
knows that the center of the trunk is not needed as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it no longer puts its energy into maintaining the center of the trunk.
And then what about, are all the residents, we the people of Lake Bluff, we're
We're the questers.
the questioners. That's right. We're sending in, I think this tree's really old. Okay.
Well, there's a
So-
whole process.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to, and that, we'll talk about how we can get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm interested.
Yeah. I
So
want to do
people
it.
that are just out and about, or they might think something in their yard is old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
And not all the trees are large. Like you can look at a cottonwood, which is huge, and it may not be that old.
They grow fast, though.
But you may have a hop hornbeam, which might be,
A what?
12 inches, and it could be 200 years old. So it
What was
depends.
the name of that?
What's a
It's
hop-
called the hop hornbeam.
What's that look like?
Astraea virginiana. It is it is at home in the ravines. You walk through the ravines, you'll see it's a very common understory tree, but they don't ever get really big. But they can live a long, long time. So depends on the species.
I've never
wow.
heard of that
No,
species.
I haven't
ever.
either.
I wouldn't even. I don't. I'm trying to figure out in my head how to spell that.
What's it called again? Hakapaka?
The common name is hop hornbeam. And if you go into the ravine right on the bridge, the Gurney Bridge, you can see if you've ever seen hops, the flowers on the
beer
tree
hops?
look
Yeah.
like beer hops
Okay,
hanging
yep.
down.
Oh, those are pretty trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're lovely. They're lovely,
Oh,
but
interesting.
they don't ever get huge.
But they're old.
They don't get huge. So
So you identify the what would be the genus or something?
The
Yeah, the
species, yeah.
species, and then you. How does this work?
Okay, all right. One of the keys will be identifying the species of your tree, right?
Yeah.
And that was one reason we've been working on this, our quest, through the winter, but we didn't kick it off until May because it's kind of hard until a tree has leaves to be really sure of the species.
Oh, okay.
But there are now all these apps. So with your smartphone, you can just use it and,
Identify
take a photo of the leaf and it'll tell you what the species is. Even iPhones, if you just take a picture now and you put your thumb on the little eye, for information in the little eye in the circle, it'll tell you the species of the plant now.
So wait, we don't need to have an app for that. If you have an iPhone, you just can.
You can do that, and it seems to work pretty well.
Because the app I think you recommended on the website was called Picture This.
Yes, that's the one I think most serious gardeners find to be the most accurate. And there is a way to use it for free. All of us that use it a lot, there's like a $30-some annual fee, and we pay that. But and then there are other apps too. So,
But
Picture This is great.
If you have an iPhone, you can do it for free. And is that pretty accurate?
a lot of times you get something that might be close to that tree, like maybe a different species. But for the most part, we found Picture This today to be the most accurate. There is one called iNaturalist, and that one is building its database. So every time it gets used, it'll get closer and closer to accurate. So depends on which way you want to go. If you want to do the iNaturalist, almost like a citizen science thing, or you want to do the Picture This. But yeah, for the most part. And as you get familiar with plants, you get to the point where you go, oh, that's wrong. Like, you know what it isn't. You just don't know what it is. So
Okay, so let's say Holly and I are going to go on a day of questing. So what do? Where do we start? Like something about finding the form online, and we can find it at the library, or how does this work?
you can find it online. We have a website called growingnativehabitatlb.org. And we have all the information there. We have the forms at the library, at the History Museum, at the Village Hall, and at the Park District. So all 4 of those locations will give you an empty form and accept a completed form for us to collect. But you can also do it online.
Okay. So we've got our little questing outfits on, looking cute, looking fine. We got our forms. We go out and we look at a tree. We say, oh, that looks old. And we check with our app or our iPhone hitting the eye. And then what?
Well, so then you know the species. I hope you have a tape measure with you. That would be handy.
Good
And it
to
is
know.
good for 2 of you to be together, actually. It's much easier because if it's a big tree, you might, it might be hard to put your tape measure around. You want to put it around at a height of about 4.5 feet. That's kind of, it's just a standard that you measure diameters at 4.5 feet. It's called diameter at breast height, DBH. So what you're going to do is you're measuring the circumference, right? And then you go back to your middle school math. You realize you have to divide it by pi to get the diameter. That's all. That's all you have to do.
You have to do
3.14.
You're going to have to do the
You
math.
can do that.
Okay, because
it's on your calculator too.
You almost
pi
lost
is there.
me.
So the circumference gets divided by pi, and that's on the form.
Okay.
And then you've got the diameter, and then all you have to do is go to the on the website, on the instructions for the entry form. There are these factors that we got from Morton Arboretum, and you just multiply by that. That's all it is. Just diameter.
Oh, and that's how you get the years.
And you'll know the number of years, how old it is, roughly.
Okay.
Oh, that's
cool.
easy.
Yeah, it's
Except
kind
for
of
the
fun.
math part. But,
No, but she says it all does it for you.
Yeah, well, thank God.
Well, you know what?
I can't do math.
You know what? Anyone that is listening could just send it in and let us do the math. If you just do the circumference,
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
that would be fine.
Sweet.
That would
Well,
be
that's
fine.
what you'll be
That's
getting from me. Unless Holly helps with the math. Okay, so that's the process. I mean, it's a day of fun and with a measuring tape.
Yeah.
And a buddy. Wow.
I like that.
And it's
Yeah.
within the boundaries of School District 65. So that includes Knollwood and some of
okay.
our outlying areas. It isn't just the village of Lake Bluff. We're trying to make it as community-wide as possible.
Tangley Oaks, do you have someone combing through there?
Well, we've kind of started to form what we're calling field teams, and we're not doing it yet because we're so early in the process. But if somebody sends in a form for a really huge tree, the field team will go out and verify just to make sure. And then we'll kind of walk some of those areas where, maybe people haven't really looked. We're going to see, because if we know that there are a lot of old trees in some of our areas that never, very mature forests, we'll try to make sure we've covered them all.
Okay. Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Do you
go
do
on.
anything with? Well, I might be changing the subject. So
No, I was just going to ask if this is a national program or if you guys initiated it.
It's our
I think
program.
that is so.
Yeah.
It could go. It could take off. I think so.
Yeah.
And then children, like education with children. Like I have lots of questions about that.
Oh,
what's
Sue.
so funny?
We have been trying to include the children.
Yes.
We've had many conversations with the school district. Schools are so programmed and so complete. Adding something to their curriculum is tough, but we have shared all the information with the school, with the superintendent and principals and some science teachers. And we're hoping that maybe some of the kids will get inspired. We've also been trying to connect with any group we can find, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Indian Princesses,
Sure.
anybody. We would love to get the kids involved. But the measurement part it's pretty simple, but it's not easy. I mean, you got to hold that line up at 4.5 feet. And So you're going to need some adult help for most kids. High school kids, possibly.
Middle
but
school on up,
middle,
maybe.
some middle school kids. So yeah, we want to get as many people involved as possible.
Well, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say, like, just take them on. Aside from the tree contest, inspire them through like a nature walk for like a field trip kind of thing, where you just walk through Lake Bluff and you point out the native plants and how important they are. I mean, just a field trip. Has that been approached with the school at all, or anything like that?
No, because again, anytime they have a field trip, it requires buses and it's hard. Even the measuring, if they were to leave the school and do a measurement, pretty much the only place they could really go is Artesian Park. And there are some large trees there, but there's a time crunch. Forest Bluff, some of the other schools we'll look at. And we've been talking to some of the teachers there.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons we put it through September and possibly into October. We would love to get the kids involved.
Right.
But spring is really busy in schools. And now is probably not the easiest time to get that connection.
How could the word be spread? Like, this summer, don't you guys have a table at the market?
We do. We'll be at the farmers market again this summer, every other week, and really our focus is the witness tree quest. That's we'll still be doing. We're a National Wildlife Federation community wildlife habitat. Lake Bluff is, which is why we edited our name to be Growing Native Habitat Lake Bluff. So that last year that was our focus. This year we'll still offer that. If people come along, we still need a few more homes every year to get certified, but the primary focus is the witness tree quest.
Okay. How did we get that certification? I know there was a lot that went into that.
We had a lot of work to do. Fortunately, we started 7 years ago, and we've put in a garden at Artesian Park. We put in a free lending library at Artesian Park and an education board. We've been at the farmers market. We've done education programs. So when we went to do the National Wildlife Federation certification, we had a lot of the requirements done. We got it done in 5 months? It was really fast because we had so much done. And then we needed 150 points in homes, churches, schools, etc. So we got all that, and it's an acknowledgement that we are a community wildlife habitat. We were the third city in the state of Illinois to get certified. It was Evanston was first, Highland Park was second, and then we followed 8 months later as the third. So
hot diggity dog.
It's kind of fun. We have work to do every year to keep it up, and hopefully we will, because I think it's a great way to educate people, and they have wonderful resources.
That's great. I'm surprised that nobody else does get certified. There's only 3 in the whole state.
Well, is this new?
We're lucky because we live in a small town. We know people, and we've been working on this for a long time. The garden and all the things that we've already done gave us those points to get there. If you're starting from scratch and doing organization, it's a lot of work.
Okay.
But it's a labor of love.
Oh, I know you work your hind end off. I mean, they do a lot of things. Don't you guys do events too? You have something coming up with, I thought I saw something on your calendar about mosquito buckets or something, or...
Yeah.
I mean, you sort of do a lot of different things.
Well, we do. And so Doug Tallamy now has a website called Homegrown National Park. The idea is everybody gets their property on this park so he can see how many acres or square feet, if you do it from our little tiny houses, are going native and planting native. And as an entomologist, he came up with this mosquito bucket. We talked about neonicotinoids, but most insecticides, they are generalists. They will kill any insect that they see, and that's not what you're being told when the mosquito
I see
people
those
come
Mosquito
door
Joe
to door.
thing. Yeah, and I just
But if you really look at it from a science standpoint, the life cycle of a mosquito is 10 days. So they just keep repeating and repeating. So you spray and you kill even if you kill the adults in your yard, you've also killed your butterflies, your moths, your ladybugs. They only reproduce maybe twice in the summer, where mosquitoes are every 10 days. You're only killing the adults. You still have the eggs hatching and the larvae and coming. So you can't get ahead of it with mosquito spray. But what Doug Tallamy has recommended and what we do in Lake Bluff is we put a larvicide, which will kill the larva of the mosquitoes in the sewers. And you can make your own little bucket at home and put the larvicide in a bucket, attract the mosquitoes there. And the population of mosquitoes does decline if you do that.
Is that on your website or your newsletters?
It is.
Because
That's
very timely for right now.
So the larvicide, there's a brand, and they're called Dunks. And you can get these little things. They're just little discs that you can break up. Actually, you don't even need to put the whole thing into a bucket. And you can get them at almost any, home improvement store. You can get them online at Amazon. Jewel has them? Oh, cool. I mean, they are pretty readily available. It's a brand name called Dunks. I think the village of Lake Bluff has a contract with Clark. And they have their own proprietary thing. But I see the guy going around on a bike with a backpack, and he's just dropping these things into our storm drains. And so it's a good way. It's a good thing that Lake Bluff is doing.
I saw that one time, and I remember thinking, is he poisoning our water system?
Right.
Much more effective than spraying and much less harmful than spraying. There's only been 1 or 2 bugs identified only as larvae that are impacted, and it's harmless to dogs and kids and other animals. So it really is the way to go.
And we just stick them in a bucket and keep them outside, the dunk.
Yeah, you make mucky water in a bucket, like a 5-gallon, those white 5-gallon buckets.
Oh, yeah.
And you put like maybe some grass clippings or some leaves or something. You want it to get a little mucky because that's what mosquitoes like.
Oh,
and then you add the dunk, and they say like put more in every month or so to keep it going.
Oh, great.
And then there are different ways. One thing that's not great is that a little animal could fall into the water. So you kind of want to prevent that. You can either put one of the lids and drill a bunch of holes in, or you can use, Sue has bought hydroponic lids. You can get them on Amazon, and they already come with a nice little basket in the lid. They work well. I think, Sue, you've used like a wire mesh.
Chicken wire. But you can also, if you don't have kids around, a bucket is a drowning hazard for children. So you really, you have to be very aware of that piece of it. But if you never have children in your yard, you can just take a stick and put it in the water, and any animal that falls in can crawl out.
Yeah. So, is there anything that we didn't cover? Because I feel like we got a lot out there.
We could talk for days, but you'll just have to have us back another time.
Well,
Absolutely.
we will. Yeah.
We'll follow up in the fall when you have the winner of the oldest tree.
I was just going to say, maybe we could remind people how they can find out information about the Industry Quest. And it's the Growing Native Habitat LB.org.
Okay.
And then there will be, we've put some little posters around the town, and at the farmers market, we'll be handing out these little business cards.
Is that what this? You
Yep,
brought this?
It's got a QR code, so you can get to that website right away.
I'll take a picture of that. I put it on
Great.
our Insta.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I mean, if you have anything else. Oh, that's even better. Ooh, you probably have a scanner. Could you scan that to
I
me?
do. I will.
Yeah.
I'll scan it.
Yeah.
Well, I
'cause
can even
then-
send you the PDF if you
Well,
want.
that would be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that would
Don't
be,
even have to scan it.
That would be extra special. May I have one for myself?
Oh, sure.
And then we've got these little cute little business cards, which is basically a shrunken. Yeah,
yeah,
I
a
got
little
it.
shrunken poster.
These are great, and everybody look for them. Look for their table at the farmers market, which kicks off in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, June 7th, I think, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the bucket day is early June, right? Or is it?
Oh, for the bucket day?
Yeah.
Well, we do have a meeting that anybody is welcome to, and it's at the Union Church. It's the first Saturday in June. So I think it
What
might be
time?
the 4th, 1 p.m. Anyone's welcome, and we will have buckets, and we will be talking about that. And then we will also have some buckets, hopefully, at the first farmers market.
And we could purchase those from you.
I'm trying to get them for free so I can
Oh,
give them to people.
Oh.
Buckets are used in a lot of industries, and then they just get thrown out. So we're
Yeah.
trying to recycle.
Recycle. That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
One final plug might be for people to stop into the library, because what they did is so cool. There's a column kind of right in the middle of the entrance into the library, and they turned it into a tree, and they're displaying all sorts of tree books on this column.
Oh, cool.
And they will have the information on the Witness Tree Quest as well.
I saw that on your website. It's darling, and if that does not attract the interest of kids, I don't know what will, because it was really cute. It was a great way to display books about trees, but it was also just a great way to grab a kid's attention and go, oh yeah, and who knows, they may be a future dendrologist. You never know. So is that it? Because we don't want to forget anything, because I feel like we've covered a lot of ground. I think we got it. I think we're good.
I think so too.
Well, thank you,
Great.
Sue. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you for taking the time and trekking over here the one block that it was, and for Sue about 4
Our
blocks.
closest guests.
Well, thank you. This was fun, and we are always trying to get the word out.
Well,
Great.
we appreciate that, and we both are into the whole nature thing.
Nature thing,
Yeah.
local and community.
Yeah, but maybe not as dedicated as the two of you are. But so thank you for enlightening us and enthusing me. I feel motivated.
I know.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I could do more, that's for sure. I could do a lot more.
Read the book. If you haven't read the book, we try to keep a copy of it at our lending library, a free library up in Artesian Park.
Okay.
It really is. I call it my gateway drug. You have to read that book and you're hooked.
What's the name of the book again? By Doug Tellamy. But
Doug Tallamy, Nature's Best Hope.
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thanks a bunch, you guys.
you.
And that about wraps it up, Holly. Would you
Sounds
say?
good to me.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks, Harvey. Ladies Who Question is executive produced and edited by me, LiseDominique, and also executive produced by HolliCaulfield. Holly does research, and I do social media. Music, My Lionheart. Sketch music by Florian Manx and Matthew Anderson. Ladies Who Question is on Instagram and Facebook. Give us a like and a follow if you would, and leave us your thoughts. You can also visit our website, LadiesWhoQuestion.com.
All content discussed on Ladies Who Question are the opinions of LiseDominique and HolliCaulfield and should not be construed as advice of any kind. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as advice of any personal or medical issue for yourself or others. This disclaimer also applies to guests or contributors to the podcast.